Reviews. I'm Captain Mao.
And I'm your boy T Crawler. Well, howdy folks, they call me Weapon 2.
Cowboy Weapon 2. And today we're bringing you our official review for Jessica Jones Season 3. So, Jessica Jones Season 3 obviously is the third season of Jessica Jones and is a bitter farewell, nailed it first try, to the Marvel Netflix series. It is the last of the Marvel shows that we're going to get on the Netflix. So, the question on everybody's mind, does this go out with a bang? Does this live up to Jessica Jones Season 1, or does it kind of fall off like Jessica Jones Season 2? Weapon 2, what did you think? Spoiler free as always. We'll give you a heads up before we talk about spoilers.
Falls off.
Falls off? Oh.
Here's the deal. I like the character of Jessica Jones, and I like the way it's portrayed in this. I like everything about Jessica Jones. In this particular season, I liked things about it. There was things I didn't. Big thing to me is how menacing and scary the villain can be, and it wasn't in this one. And when we get into spoilers, I'll tell you why. But it was, I feel like it was better than 2, but I don't feel like it was anywhere close to as much as I enjoyed Season 1.
To me, it fell off a fucking cliff. I was bored. I agree with everything you said about the villain. Jessica Jones herself was good, right? She was interesting, but focused way too much on Patsy, and we'll get into spoilers on that. The villain was not good at all. I literally was bored out of my mind watching this. I think Season 2 was better. I think this is the worst season.
You might be right.
This is the worst season of Jessica Jones in my humble opinion.
This is just more fresh in my mind.
Yeah, it's watchable though.
Yeah.
It's not terrible, but to me, it really did not live up to what I wanted of the Jessica Jones series. T-Crawler?
I agree. I think this one was, or Season 2 was better than this one. Again, it did fall off. I don't know if it was just, if part of it was because they know they're not having any more. You know, who knows? It just wasn't as good. There wasn't an ominous enough villain that like caught your attention and drew you into like worry about the main character at all. So yeah, so that's all I gotta say about it really.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I feel like we can't really say much else without spoiling it. So none of us really cared for it that much. I feel like it wasn't completely terrible, but it was not that great. But yeah, spoiler alerts. We're gonna dive into it. The villain fucking sucked. The villain was the worst part of this, and this is what really ruined the show for me. Weapon 2, explain why the villain sucked.
Well, the villain, this is the problem, okay? You set up this villain, which I think they were trying to set up this villain as this mastermind that could be horribly scary and a step ahead of everybody and have all this kind of leverage over people. The problem is he doesn't. The problem is he thinks he's smarter than he is. He is smart. He is sometimes a step ahead of everybody. But the problem, let's separate, let's for example, Wilson Fisk, okay?
Yeah.
Wilson Fisk is a guy who's always several steps ahead of everybody. And he has leverage over everybody. He has everybody in fear because he's going to kill them and their family and everybody. The problem is this guy, the leverage that he would ever have over them was their mother. And once he killed her, there was no leverage. There's nothing to stop them from doing anything they wanted to this guy. And the biggest mistake Jessica Jones ever did was keeping Patsy from killing him. Because I think that's what led to her issues with feeling like she had to keep doing more. I'm not saying that she wouldn't have gone a little bit crazy anyways, but he wasn't this character that you could be afraid of. He was pretty much your common serial killer, and I think that they should have just killed him at that point.
Yeah, so he's supposed to be a genius level serial killer. He's not a meta, he's not superpowered or anything like that. He's not a physical match for Jessica Jones. So the issue is when you have a character like a main villain who's not a physical match for the superhero, like they can't hang with him in a fight, then yes, he has to be terrifying on a psychological level. Yeah. He has to beat them a different way. A great example of this is Joker. Even though Batman's not superpowered, he's not a physical fight for Batman, right? But he's his most dangerous fucking opponent because of the psychological aspect to it, because of his planning, because of the mindfuck that he could do, because of how sadistic he is, because of the extent of the level that he's willing to go to, right? And that's just the first example that pops in my head, but there's lots of great examples of this. You could even argue the same for Kilgrave, even though it's slightly different because he had powers, right? But so if you're gonna do it to where your villain doesn't have powers and it's not a physical match, that motherfucker better be menacing and terrifying and brilliant. And he just came off as cheesy, poorly written, was a bad actor. The scene when she's like wrestling him at the restaurant, that was the dumbest, fucking campiest thing I've seen. And I was like, so out of place tonally with this show, because not only is it out of place tonally, but it like outs her to everybody and what's going on with him, and like it directly fucked up the investigation that was going. You know what I mean? Like it totally like derailed everything. It was fucking dumb. T. Crowler, what did you think?
I just think, like I said earlier, the villain wasn't ominous enough. He wasn't. It gave you no worries about if the hero can handle this villain. If anything, it made me irritated. Like, you know, why didn't she let Trish, Hellcat basically, why didn't she let her kill him when she had the chance? It could have ended a lot sooner than when it did. Like you said, he had the leverage of the mother. After that, the only thing he did have as leverage was just the identity of Trish Walker. You know, was Trish Walker. So it's like.
But she was willing to give that up.
Yeah, she was willing
Yeah, I
to.
wouldn't even let her.
She wanted to end it.
And
So,
Trish's whole argument about you killed Kilgrave for
Right.
the greater good, and
Yeah.
like.
So-
And
A lot of it just didn't
Jessica
make
Jones is basically like, why are you bringing up bullshit?
Yeah.
Like she doesn't even have a response to that.
It's just a lot of it didn't ring true and it
So-
didn't make sense. That stuff right there that you're talking about didn't make
Yeah,
sense.
so when you're talking about a villain that is not meta, doesn't have the powers and stuff, and has to be menacing and ominous and all that good stuff, like Cottonmouth for Luke Cage.
That's a great example.
That was,
That's a great
he
fucking
has
example.
no powers, but you know what? That villain, like you were worried, like okay, like you were worried about what he's gonna do, how Luke Cage was gonna
And he
stop
was
him, and he
interesting.
yeah, very interesting.
He gave a fuck about the
Yeah,
character.
exactly.
He's exactly what I think they wanted this guy to be.
Right, and they fell way short.
They
of it,
fell
yeah.
way short.
So,
The problem is he's like this whimpering crybaby, but if he was like a genius, and they're trying to make it so that he was like, oh yeah, I'm playing this, I'm afraid of you type thing, and I'm trying to set you up in front of cameras and stuff like this, but it didn't ring
You
true.
kind of sense like that's kind of what they're gonna go for at the beginning, and
It
then
felt
they
like
just never
that-
follow up. Though. They
It
just
felt
never-
like that was what they were trying to go for, but they didn't have like the setup and the evidence and the kind of storytelling to make that ring true.
So yeah, clearly we didn't like him. But the bigger arc in this season, the bigger story is about Patsy. It's about Hellcat. It's about Trish Walker
Yeah.
and her.
I love Hellcat as a
Yeah.
character.
Okay, as a character.
As a character
She
in comic
fucking
books,
sucked
I
in this,
love.
though.
Yes,
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Much like I love Iron Fist as a character, I loved Hellcat
Right.
in the '80s as a character. I thought she was wearing that skin tight suit and everything. She was running around. I loved her as a character. I thought she was cool. She was like what people now feel about the Black Widow. She was cool like that to me. I even kind of liked that she kind of put on a suit that kind of looked like it. I wished, from nostalgia, that she would have worn a suit like Hellcat.
well, they did
I
that
like
in
that
every
yeah,
series. They did that. They did that with Luke Cage. They put on one of their original suits from the comics, and each time they see themselves in the suit,
Oh,
they're like,
no.
"Oh hell no!"
Which is a
And
nice.
it's so funny, but you get to see it.
But I
You
liked
see
it
and
for
it's
Hellcat.
like- It was, yeah.
But it's a
looked
nice,
pretty good,
it's
yeah.
a nice like nod and wink that
No,
that
you're
would
not.
The only
work.
one they didn't do that was Iron Fist. They
Yeah.
kind of did the last season.
Which ironically, I feel like his costume would work. I
Yeah,
feel like it would look
would.
good on screen. But whatever. So the story with her is that the powers that she did get powers from the experiment she submitted herself to in season 2.
Mhm.
Right.
She's just like more agile. She can see in the dark, kinda. Nothing too crazy, but she wants to be a vigilante. And it's basically her descent into becoming the bad guy, into just wanting to kill people she deems are bad or whatever. And it was boring. It was uninteresting. The only good parts about her, I thought, were the couple of episodes that go back in time and show her as a little kid with her fucking lunatic mother. Those episodes were done well. Her dynamic with Jessica was okay, but it just when Kristen Ritter's on screen and when it's about her, it was good. But this season tried to focus so much on the lame villain and on her, on Hellcat. It just anytime it was about them, which is most of the time, I was bored.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Like, did you give a shit about Hellcat at all? Did you care about her arc becoming the bad guy?
No, I mean, it only reason it didn't bore me is because I was just every episode I was wondering how far they were going to go into her becoming Hellcat and what they were going to do with her as Hellcat, you know, but it just didn't, it didn't pick up or, you know, enough, and I don't know, it's, again, and then I was like, okay, why am I even worried about it at all, because they're not going to have anything else on Netflix anyway.
Yeah, so whatever.
Here's the point. At what point did she become the bad guy? She wanted to kill people who were doing horrible things.
She became the bad guy when Jessica Jones had her arrested, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm the bad guy." Even though I've done nothing in the show to set it up and to show my descent into being a bad guy.
I felt like she got pushed a little bit, and I felt like if Jessica Jones would have let her kill that guy,
she's done nothing.
Blew off a little.
Frank Castle has
saying,
done way worse shit than
What
her.
I'm saying.
Yes.
So.
Bad guy, maybe anti-hero. That's what I see her as, but I don't see her as a bad guy.
It'd be cool if they had all this shit together and they're like, you know what, Hellcat just gets pissed off at Jessica, like, I'm gonna go find Frank because he knows where I'm coming from. And then her and Frank team up and they're like, oh, let's take out this bastard. And they take that guy out and he's like, hey, you can help with some other shit. And they take out some other people. And
Just kill people.
I'm not like even sad about her show being done now. Like this ended so poorly. I'm just like, whatever. I don't care. Like I'll never watch it. I will still 100% always recommend Jessica Jones season one. I will tell everybody to watch that. The rest of it, she was better in The Defenders. Like it was that, and that was just kind of okay. So yeah, I was not happy with this. I didn't think it was good at all. In fact, I thought it was a huge disappointment.
You know, I don't know. If they bring this back at all, with the characters and stuff, I think it should start with the Defenders too. They should start with all of them together.
Or I'm fine with her being in other character shows or movies. She doesn't need her own show anymore.
No standalone. Just
yeah, I think I'm done with that. You done with that?
Yeah. She is a good supporting character. She's really cool. I like her character, but she's good as a supporting character. There's a lot of the stuff that they've done around her, other than Kilgrave, because he was a great villain.
But now, how much of that was just that great villain?
It was the great villain.
It wasn't.
I think
I like
her
her character, but I don't think she's a main character.
They're like, this villain sucks, so let's give him a voice of
I feel the same way with Iron Fist and Luke Cage. I feel like they're supporting characters. I feel like the only ones that still could warrant their own show is Daredevil and Punisher. Other than that, I don't really need anything else. So, closing thoughts?
No, I think we nailed it.
I think we nailed it. Alright, well hey, as always, if you enjoyed this video, thank you for joining us on this episode of the world's greatest news and reviews. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Peace! What have they ever done? They're just trying to save the day.
It's over now.
It's all over now.
Poor guys.
It's all over now. See, I'm not into that.